Hello, this is how to use the job profitability sheet. If your business provides its service through contracts, projects, or jobs, then understanding the profitability of those individual jobs and the reasons for that is pretty essential to drive profitability in the overall business. So, pretty straightforward to use. We'll set up a new job here. I'm going to make it an install. You could use any kind of job type in there you like, but I'm going to stick with the ones I've already got. Let's make it for Mr. Brown. Stick with the current hourly cost, £35. And this is going to be an 8-hour job. So that gives us our labour cost. Materials, let's say £750. And our quoted price, including profit, let's call it 1,500. Make it a little bit more than that, 1,700. Giving us £670 profit and a 39% margin. So you set this up when you quote the job or when the quote is accepted and you plan the job. When you actually do it, you fill in the details of how the work was carried out. So let's say Joe did this job and he did it on the 3rd of March. And he had a bit of a problem, so actually it took him 8 hours. And he also had a problem with materials, so he had to go out and buy a couple of bits that weren't quoted for, so he went over on that as well. But unfortunately, because it was your fault, you weren't able to charge the variance to the customer, so you're only able to invoice what you originally quoted. And you can see here that it's worked out the actual gross profit and actual achieved gross margin, and because these are lower than you sold it at, it's highlighted them in red. The greens here are where these jobs went particularly well, you made more than you expected to make. So in a few seconds there you can keep track of both the planning and the execution of any job. Here you can see that each of these columns can be filtered, so typically you might want to say, well, at the end of a month, let's say March, I've got my management accounts, tells me how much I turned over, how much gross profit I made. I want to look at this and check how each job contributed to that performance. So what this is saying is actually in March we invoiced £5,400 and we made £1,965 gross profit, representing a gross margin of 36.4%, which is a little bit under what you wanted it to be, what you were selling at, which is 38%. So looking at that, you can say, well, I can see here I want to drill into which of the jobs that caused me a problem. You can see that it's these 3 jobs that diluted your margin, although one of them actually made more in pounds profit. And that allows you to take steps, obviously, to address those issues. Let's just get rid of these filters. And also typically you might want to say, well, I'm interested in which kinds of work make me the most. So here I'm looking at, for repairs, achieving a 40.2% gross margin, and actually I'm outperforming my sales. So on repairs I seem to be executing pretty well. If I go to service, how does that compare? Our service also doing quite well, so 46% gross margin, but actually is bang on what we sell it at. If you do have an area where you think you've got a problem, the system will help you find that. So let's just say here, actually, what I'm looking at, I want to look at everything where I didn't make the profit I wanted to make. what can I see that's common about that? Well, actually nothing as it happens, but what you'd be looking for typically, is there a kind of job? Is there a particular customer, or is there a particular technician that is struggling? In which case I need to do something about that. That's it.